Get ready to quit the build.
Here we go.
The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno, Brad, and Nick.
What it do? You are listening to the QTB podcast. I'm your host, Bruno, and with me, the Brothers McMuffins, the boys of QTB. It's Brad. It's Nick. Let's give them a hand.
You can call us the holiday.
At home.
The holiday McMuffins. That has a nice ring to it.
McMuffins. The holiday cookies. The holiday cookies. The Cookie Brothers.
Oh man, I just had some sugar cookies with the cinnamon toast crunch frosting. Which I'm going to tell you something. If you're a cinnamon toast crunch person, you haven't had like the Betty Crocker like official frosting. It's life changing. You could just scoop it out of it. You don't even need the cookie. Just get a spoon.
I don't need to. That sounds like a fancy cookie. I'm okay with being the simple cookie as long as I'm not the fruitcake this holiday season. That's all I'm saying.
You're always a fruitcake in my book.
Well, you know. Put that on a silver platter for you, and you just took it.
Amazing.
See how it is.
On that note, yes, Bruno, it is another exciting episode here of the QTB podcast, and the last one here before the Christmas is upon us. We got one more episode left after this in 2022, and I mean, what a year this has been. I'm sure it'll be Ooh, yes, we are giving news about video games. Bruno and Brad are here, and Nick's here. What it do? The Kirby ball's in the corner, and he is here for you. Oh,
what it
QTB.
Do? What it do?
That's what you get sometimes, man.
You guys got the jingles. I'm just gonna chill over here in the mistletoe zone. That's all I'm saying.
Mistletoe zone behind him.
Oh, he does. I like
it. BP Smooth over here. You love it. You love to see it.
Ooh, speaking of, we're going to be talking about some smooth people in the news we got going on with High on Life, which is definitely something that I've been trying to play this past week. Of course, I'm going to be streaming it for everyone on Patreon, and then we're going to be putting some clips together for YouTube, some that don't violate the terms of service. But as soon as I get I finally figured out all the recording issues. I tried recording a little bit earlier this week, but I got some advice from Nick about OBS, and I was like, let's just go ahead and switch over to that. And you were right. So I had to, get that all set up and whatnot. And so that's really been what I've been trying to do this week is just set up for that, prep for that. Brad, you're looking so festive over there. What's been going on?
Well, I mean, it's the holidays, right? It's the last episode before Christmas. I'm in the spirit. As you all know, if you tuned into our stream last night, I joined in with Nick on the back end of his Fortnite stream, and our listeners got to see in the variety of Christmas skins I have in Fortnite. So I figured, why not come to play in real life? I've got the vest on, the ugly vest. I've got the beanie. It's the mistletoe zone. I'm ready for the news. Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh, let's
and the
go.
koozie, and the holiday koozie. I mean, we're here to play.
Love it.
We are here to play. Okay, well, before we do get into that, though, of course, one of our recurring segments here at the beginning of the show is what you've been playing. And I'll tell you, obviously, we're going to be talking about High on Life here in a little while. And the stinger now means we're in the new segment. But I
gotta get there.
I have to acknowledge
now.
Yeah. I have to acknowledge the stinger. I don't know why. Like, it just feels like I can't just let it play, But no, we'll talk about High on Life here in a little while, and I did get to play that. But aside from that, man, it has just been a huge week for us again there on our live streams. Of course, those of us following us at TikTok, tiktok.com/@quitthebuild. We have been running not only our Fall Guys streams, but we just had a huge Fortnite stream. I got to collaborate with Aaron Gray Games, awesome dude, vocalist, voice actor, and has even done some covers with the family Jules there, who does some metal covers of video game songs on Spotify. Awesome guy. I had a chance to kind of co-stream Fortnite with him for a while, and then afterwards, this guy over here, Brad, hopped on. And we got to play some duos as well. Got the dub. We got the dub on the stream. Brad led us to victory there with a very strategic play. Brad, you're the mastermind of Fortnite, man. I'm just saying.
Well, Nick, you tend to just be, you're like a chicken with his head's cut off. You just want to keep going. And sometimes
no plan.
You got to follow the storm. You got to rotate. You got to look at your rotations and hold back a little bit. And we did. And we capitalized on the last battle. And let's edge forward and tread lightly. And no build's a bit different. You got to switch up your strategy with no build. So
yeah,
we picked up the dubs, though. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people tuning in, a lot of new followers. Shout out to everyone. Thanks for tuning in. It was a great night and looking to more Fortnite streams, right, Nick?
Yeah.
I am definitely looking forward to it. What I'm really looking forward to, though, Brad, before we get into anything else, though, is this hat. Okay, we got to talk about it because, and you showed us here in the Patreon pre-show that your hat is not just for looks, it is also practical because you could basically stand out front and just be the light show. Here it comes, everybody. Wait for it. This is why you need to watch the show if you're just listening. Wow, good timing.
I am literally can be your live Christmas lights, outdoor Christmas lights. I can stand in your front yard. I can sing a Christmas carol. I light up. I glow.
Yeah.
For a small.
You can't sing.
He lights up my life.
You can't sing Christmas carols outside people's houses anymore. They'll call the cops on you, man.
They will.
They'll be like, you just can't, Nick, because you can't carry a tune. So.
What's your angle?
Private driveway, here.
Who are you talking to?
The guy who doesn't post jingles on TikTok saying that to the guy who posts jingles all the time on TikTok, right?
I'm speechless, I just did like 4-part harmony to Happy by Pharrell to sing the Penguin song.
As you do, as one does.
Well,
as one does.
And if you haven't heard that yet, you got to get to our TikTok and check out Nick's latest jingle because he's churning out the jams, everybody. This has been a banner year for jingles on our TikTok, and that's kudos over there, Nick, right?
2022 was the year of the jingle, right? The very first jingle I think I wrote back in like February. The very first one I did was the Elden Ring song. And it just kind of took off from there. So, yeah, I think, by the way, Dexter the Cat, once again, with a big super chat saying the GOAT of gaming podcast is QTB. Can we all agree on that? I think we're on the same page. Couldn't have said
it better myself.
There you go.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
I think we may need a year recap episode next week, Nick, segment. We may need to hear from you, favorite jingle, favorite moment. We may need to do a new segment next week for the last episode of 2022.
The jingle review, spelled REVUE, because that's the fancy way to do it. I love it. Nice. Okay, well, I guess Brad, Fortnite's been your jam. Any other games on your docket this week?
I've been diving into the Switch a bit more. We got the wife the Switch a couple weeks ago, so been really getting back into those retro games. All of the Nintendo 64. I was playing Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, just reliving some of the games I haven't played in over a decade. So the Switch has been such a nice change of pace from when I don't want to play Xbox and play Fortnite or play Fall Guys. It's been fun to have that as kind of a different route to go, and playing with the wife, at home has been a blast.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're finding a practical use for it in the household, and it does have them. Yeah, Bruno, what do you got going on, man? Besides High on Life.
Family's in town, so it's been a little hectic. And then apparently, usually this time of year, things slow down at work, and it's like, what are we doing this week, guys? Twiddling our thumbs or, playing footsies? And guess what? We're doing neither of those things. It's balls to the wall over here, and we are just getting stuff done. Okay, we're getting stuff done. For QTB, for everything. There's just tons of stuff going on. So, I thought I was going to have a nice little end of the year slow down, and we are just, it's not even, that's not happening.
Full steam ahead.
No,
full steam ahead.
Okay, well, and you can't blame. I was surprised any of us were able to play as many games as we had with the holidays right there around the corner, but Good stuff. Well, we got to get into our big story for today. But of course, before we do that, I've got to talk about our amazing sponsor. And of course, that is going to be our friends over at the Winner Live Arcade. Forget Santa Claus. All you need is Santa Claus, spelled the other way. CLAWS, exactly. Because Winner Live Arcade, you can catch real prizes that will be shipped straight to your door anytime, anywhere, right on your smartphone. And the best part is your first win is free when you download with our link. But my question for you out there in podcast land is, have you played Winners Live Trivia yet? It is so much fun, and they've got a lot more live trivia than they used to. Play up to 3 times per day with a live host. Answer all 12 questions during the live trivia session correctly, and you'll take home a huge ticket jackpot that you can spend in the winner's circle. They were given, it's been like 50,000 ticket jackpots, and you can get some pretty good stuff in that winner's circle for 50K. Just saying. And it's a very low entry fee as well. Plus, if you use promo code WHATITDO at pay.app.winnerwinner.com when recharging your tokens, this month only, you're going to get an extra sweet deal with 45% free tokens on your next purchase. Link in the description. You'll love to see it. Tokens going crazy for that promo code.
That's the best holiday deal I've seen all year. Like, that's the best. That's the 45%. I mean, come on.
Right.
Not 20, not 30, not 40. 45% more coins. I mean, that's incredible.
Love that number.
Right?
I do. Yes. All right. Well, I think that as always.
Factoid, that was Michael Jordan's second number when he first came back from his retirement before they gave him back 23. He was 45. So if you didn't know it, now you know it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for playing that, because, I mean, I feel like I learned something I'm going to forget in the next 5 minutes.
I knew it. I knew the minute you started saying it. And then when you said this for the pre-show about having fun factoids, being a Snapple bottle, I was like, I gotta get it ready.
But in all seriousness, check out those live trivia sessions, because I mean, it's not that tough to get 12 questions right. They start easy, they get harder. And the jackpots are there for you. Like, if you show up to every one of these sessions, like, you're gonna do pretty well. It's just a matter of time until you hit that jackpot. So very cool. Check that out. Use the link in our show notes or description. Let them know through that link that we sent you.
That's
all right,
crazy.
Now that is crazy, and I'm going to tell you what else is crazy, guys. And this is the absolute just massive run on the Xbox Game Pass charts that High on Life is having. Of course, the newest game from made in part there by Justin Roiland, of course, the voice and genius behind all that is Rick and Morty, has created High on Life along with his studio. It's officially become Xbox Game Pass's biggest launch of 2022, the biggest third-party Game Pass launch ever, and the biggest... Yeah. And then we still got one more, because it's the biggest single-player game launch on Game Pass of all time. This game is just it's running the table on what's been a pretty sparse 2022, I think, on the exclusive side for the Game Pass, something that was needed, and we kind of got there at the wire, down to the buzzer for 2022. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Bruno, because I know you have been playing through it quite a bit. Does this news surprise you at all, and what has your gameplay impression been?
No, not at all. First of all, I am very surprised at the gameplay, because I think we all kind of expected it to be funny. That was never an issue. It seemed funny from the get-go, not to be confused with the Geico Gecko, but it was actually like a really good, trailer sequence with all the different things that you could, see and do. But that really just scratches the surface of what you can do in this game. You start off, in the very beginning of the game, kind of playing this Doom fake game, essentially. Like, it's a game within a game, and that part
Inception.
is hilarious. Yeah, it really is, right?
Really
I've
is.
even got right there. It's Gameception, okay? And it is really, really fun. I gotta say, aside from like the couple frame rate issues that I was having, and that was mainly because I was trying to record and do a bunch of stuff on my computer alongside of it, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to kind of dive in and bring the gameplay to our community, because we've been wanting to do things like this and kind of branch out, and this is going to be the perfect opportunity to do that. It's something that has been a long time coming for the Xbox, and I think everyone is pleasantly surprised. And there's been a lot of games recently that, have surprised us. Need for Speed Unbound was actually a really great entry in the series, which has surprised everyone.
Yeah.
That EA kept that under their hat for so long and never really mentioned anything. And the same goes with this, right? Like, I think part of the reason that High on Life is having success right now is obviously due to the drought of new content that's available on Game Pass. Game Pass is still a fantastic value. It really is. There are a ton of EA games on there that you can play amidst a bunch of other like Xbox games and indie games. So it really does have a great value, but it is missing some of those first party or third party exclusive titles like High on Life, and that is it's just the perfect entry into it, I think, especially considering the genre that it's going after. I feel like PlayStation, it wasn't really the place for this type of game. I think PlayStation gamers are more into RPGs. They take things a little bit more seriously, hence games like Uncharted and Last of Us, very serious tone to these games. And that is not this. This is a very, very Rick and Morty, multi, what was the one? The different commercials.
Right. Yeah, the commercial compilations where it's
Yes. They had like the multi-dimensional cable is what it was called. Multi-dimensional cable. That's exactly what this game is like. It is exactly that. Everything you try and do, from like shooting things that you're not supposed to, there's somebody saying something to you. Right. And it's just, I feel like it's one of those games that is going to reward you for taking your time. Mm-hmm. Right. It's not really meant to go through and just kind of run and gun it. Like, take your time, look around, see what's out there. And that's what we're going to be doing. So, what do you think, Nick?
So far, here's what I'll say. And you're right. One of the great things about the game, 'cause it's a really big game as far as a single player first person shooter goes, and size wise, I mean. And that there's so many hidden gems. I mean, there's entire playable movies. Like, you can go to a movie theater and just sit down and watch like a real movie that happens in the game. There's tons of little things that Justin Roiland has.
Be doing that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We've got to do that. That's got to be one of the like Patreon exclusives that we do, is basically just like a watch through of that, because it's got like Paul Walker in it. One of the movies is Paul Walker, and I'm like, heck yeah, we're going to see this. So
okay, yeah, and I mean, what better way than to watch a virtual movie in a virtual movie theater on your real TV, sitting on your real couch? I mean, the Inception levels there are off the charts, but Justin has even come out and said, like, there are going to be Easter eggs that people aren't going to find for a very long time. So all sorts of one person realized very quickly, or at the very beginning of the game, when you pick up the gun. And it tries to get you through the tutorial. It tells you, hey, you have to press this button to shoot, or like, whatever button it is that's on the screen. I don't know what version of the game you're playing on. There's already like fourth wall breaking humor. If you don't shoot for a while, he calls you out on it. But if you pause the game and then unpause the game, he gets upset. Like, he's like, in what game is pause the shoot button? Is this your first video game? Like, he just absolutely lays into you for how you could be so dumb to try pausing the game as the way to shoot. And so that style of humor continues. Like, you get in that whole thing with there's this door you have to go through, and there's these two guards, one's red, one blue, and the doors both lead to the same hallway. There's no difference between the doors, and you have to get into this whole like dialogue scene of deciding which one is you would go on a date with, and the one that you pick ultimately is the door you can go through, but it makes no difference because you're just going to the same place. Like, you're right, it's a game that's Jesus. Yes, and people are trying to say, oh, I beat the game in 10 hours, 15 hours, and it was too short. It's like, then you missed the point of that game. Like, there are a million shooters out there. Justin Roiland knows that, and the team. The whole idea is that it's the absurdist humor and the people that like the Rick and Morty style of comedy that really get into this. And yeah, we have a Legend Blue in chat saying, yeah, Justin Roiland is the new the king of Easter eggs. So he's getting this whole playground of video games. He did that one, was it Trover Saves the Universe, that VR, and that Rick and Morty VR experience as well. So he's got some chops there in the space, and I think he's flexing them there. I will say this, which is real quick before I throw it over to Brad, is that if you don't like Rick and Morty style humor, this game will wear on you quickly. I've always enjoyed Rick and Morty, but like they did reach a couple points there where I'm just like, okay, Gunn, like enough. Like when I got the knife and the knife would not stop talking about stabbing people, like I'm like, okay, the joke was funny like 5 minutes ago, but there's enough.
But there's a slider in that.
Is there?
So you can actually, so there is a slider in the game that you can turn down the frequency in which your guns talk to you.
Oh, okay.
And it's like you can turn it to normal, occasional, or off. So you can really, dampen that kind of experience if you want.
Right. Okay. But I mean, Brad, as far as I know you haven't had a chance to dive into this yet, but that's the beauty of Game Pass is it's waiting for you. What's your impression so far that you're seeing?
We're hearing from you guys and seeing what I've seen first impression. I think this is the perfect game for Game Pass. We talk about not wanting to speed run it, so many hidden Easter eggs. How great of a value is it that you have a game that you can go back to time and time again, replay, experience different things with different guns, or find those Easter eggs, and it's a part of something like Game Pass that you get a great value for, right? Game Pass would be a little bit trivial if every game you could beat in 2, 3, 4 hours and you've exhausted the library. When you get games like this that allow you to really kind of maturate, chew, stew, work through, get different experiences, that's replay value. You want to go back for that. So to be able to get that on Game Pass, there's no wonder it's doing so well. I mean, people are going to go back to it again and again for that experience, for that humor. I mean, it really is I think a great harmony between game developers, a game, and the model of the Game Pass.
Well, and I also think it really lends to the nostalgia of video games, right? Like I feel like video games like Duke Nukem and Conker's Bad Fur Day really didn't take themselves too seriously. And so many games now do. You know what I mean? Especially Sony, right? Like, we've talked about this before about them being essentially, movies, interactive movies, right? And that's great. I think those experiences are really interesting and have a place in gaming. But I think that when you pivot and make that the crux of everything that you produce, you miss out on some of the ridiculousness that can make video games fun. And, not to beat a dead horse, but, I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy Fortnite. I think the fact that there is something like a boogie bomb that makes you disco, when you get hit with it uncontrollably is hilarious. Like it doesn't take itself too seriously. And that's this game, right? This game doesn't take itself, it knows where it's at and what its value is. And that's important. And I think that more games should take a note from High on Life. They should really start looking at these types of games as what can we do to make it funny? And I'm not talking about having a group of developers tell us what they think is funny.
Right.
I'm talking about actually hiring comedic writers and comedians to voice and get in the booth and kind of ad-lib their way through some of this stuff, because that's often how Justin Roiland does things. It's very much ad-lib.
Right.
And then it's built around that. And I think that's a great way to go about doing it. So I think that there is room for that type of growth in video games and those types of genres. I can easily see there being a High on Life too. I can easily see them continuing something like that. Right, Brad?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If you haven't had a chance to check this out, now's the time. If you don't have Game Pass, go get it. I was just looking the other day, 3-month Game Pass Ultimate codes are like 20% off right now. So you get like 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate
Stack
for like
it, man.
37
Yeah.
bucks. How can you not? That's the best deal out there, and you're going to get to experience brand new, one of a kind games like High on Life, and really dive in and see that. I mean, why not? What else?
Yeah.
Put it on your Christmas list. It's not the most expensive thing, I can tell you that. It could be a stocking stuffer. Come on, go for it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Game Pass. Even in years like this where there's a drought, I mean, in terms of the first party exclusives, the third party games really came in clutch, and I think the sales numbers of this show just how much demand there is on, and the current number of active subscribers that even with a slow year still stuck with it and were ready to play that game day one. Which is also the beauty of Game Pass, is you just reactivate it when a game shows up that you want. And for a lot of people, that reactivation can be that $1 deal that is just completely irresistible. Fun fact about High on Life is that originally this game was going to be a Stadia exclusive. In fact, when development of the game had first started, it was already set to be a Stadia exclusive game. Google had secured the rights. But over time, that deal fell through. But this was before the announcement that Stadia was going to be shuttering. It's crazy to me because you think about, the main problem that service had was the lack of game selection. And there were a couple big releases like Cyberpunk that some people said, okay, well, in my specific circumstance, getting this cloud version of the game makes sense for me. But to think that they missed out on this, like if Stadia were still around today and they would have landed this as a day one exclusive, and the only way you could play it was on their platform, they would have had a massive resurgence with the fan base of Rick and Morty and Justin Roiland's work. It's a real shame, but it's crazy to think about that, of what could have been. And the huge deal that Microsoft inevitably stumbled on. They love a good deal. They also love an easy deal, which this one was both. Good times. Well, very interesting stuff, and we'll see how the charts play out and what 2023 has in store for us. But we have other stories here to get to. But first, of course, I want to say thanks to all of our amazing supporters right here on Patreon. Of course, our QTB and Fuego supporters like Epic Capture Productions, Matt.Bat, Alexa, Caitlin, Josh, Court, Nene, and Megan, and our QTB Plus supporters at Nick, the Dudist Monk, Indie Gamiacs, Alan Abadessa, Mr. Grove Games, The Intergalactic Pinecone, Fluffy the Bunny, and Terry the Kitten. And to all of our QTB supporters on Patreon and beyond, thank you all so much. Your support really does help us to grow our brand of positive and inclusive gaming. Like Bruno said, the term that we've already used many times now is we are inclusive and not exclusive. Patreon is going to give you so much content for as little as $2 a month. QTB Nights, the QTB Nostalgia Vault, and gets you access to a special channel there and a special role on our Discord server. Check it out. Get that exclusive merch you can't find anywhere else at patreon.com/quitthebuild. And, get yourself some awesome stuff. The Infuego tier, awesome merch. Go check it out today. There it is. Okay.
Boom.
And now you don't even need to cut it because it just ends. I've got it timed down to almost the second, dare I say.
Nice.
Our second story, guys, coming from yes, thank you. Years of broadcast excellence are coming to a head here.
Have you seen that one where the guy points to the rocket and it takes off?
No. What's that?
That's the best timing of all time.
Oh, I've seen that video. Yes, the guy plays like a rocket launch behind him. Yeah.
Yeah. The timing it took for this one, and the fact that, I guess NASA kept their, yes, we are going to, schedule it on the actual dot, right? Like for it to take off. This guy, he's just walking up. You're like, where are you going, buddy? And all of a sudden the camera zooms out and he's like, there. And then as soon as he points there, this rocket from 2 miles away just takes off, and you're like, "What? Good timing! That they had one shot.
You had one shot, and
one
he didn't miss his chance. That's
one
right.
Opportunity.
Yes.
This summer.
Mm-hmm.
This summer, guy points to a rocket.
And it launches.
In theaters.
That's right.
Only in theaters.
Well, I'll tell you another rocket that has absolutely taken off, and that is this record-breaking lawsuit from the FTC Again, this story coming from Axios.com. Epic Games has been fined a unprecedented $520 million in the FTC's Fortnite privacy case. So just a little bit of backstory on this, and this has been kind of an ongoing thing that the Federal Trade Commission in the states here has fined the same people who are blocking the acquisition of Activision
Bruno's
Blizzard
talking
by
about being
Microsoft.
busy this holiday season. The FTC is busy right now. They are just all over the place.
Like I
We're
said,
in overdrive.
The lawyers are in the gaming industry are having a rough Q4. I'm going to say that
They
much.
said, you know what? We've hit the food industry. We've hit the drug industry. Let's hit gaming for a while. Let's stir the pot over there.
How about them games? Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what's happened. It's a number of fines, and it's the largest fine that's ever been assessed to a gaming company in history because of privacy violations and unwanted charges. So here's what it boils down to.
That button switch, I'm telling you.
This controversy actually goes all the way back to 2017. So this is a lawsuit 5 years in the making, and that first portion of it is that Epic is going to pay $275 million for violating the COPPA rule. And in a provision the FTC says is the first of its kind, will adopt strong privacy default settings for children and teens, ensuring that voice and text communications are turned off by default. So that is almost the Nintendo style of making sure that that those styles of communication are at least protected initially, and if you want to toggle them on, I guess there are some settings to do so. They also allege that Epic Games used dark patterns or design tricks to, quote, dupe millions out of players into making unintentional purchases. And Brad, you had said that had come in the form of a button swap. Did you notice when that happened in the store?
Bruno did. He called it out. He's like, oh man, wait. A used to be able to preview X would buy, and then they flipped it, or whatever way. They flipped it from one way to the other. And it got so many people, and you used to have to hold to buy, and then all of a sudden it went to just click to buy. And I think it got a lot of people on and they only limited to 3 returns. So think about that. If you press the button wrong 3 times, and after you've maximized your returns, you're stuck with whatever you just bought. You just bought a $1,500 skin or $1,500 V-Buck skin that you don't want. So I'll kick it over to Bruno. I vividly remember him being like, "Wait, the buttons changed on the shop," and
I don't remember exactly when that was. I don't know if this was 5 years ago, but it just goes to show that the pattern that they're talking about didn't just stop when they started this lawsuit, right? Like, they had tried different things to try and get people to purchase more. And I think that anytime you switch out the user experience and the UI when it comes to preview and buy, that's a really bold way of switching things about. Because it's not like we're, we switched it with the back button and now you go back instead of, you know what I mean? That'd be different because you wouldn't prompt an accidental buy. But this almost ensured that if you were just going through muscle memory, that you would essentially accidentally purchase a skin or something that maybe you meant to preview. And by preview, I meant that you can see what it looks like, rotate the skin around, zoom in and out, and that kind of thing. This isn't the first time that these companies have tried to switch things around. I recently left a bad feedback for IGN. I was so upset. This was a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about Elden Ring, and how it was the Game Awards and everything. And I wanted to look at the DLC trailer for it. And so I go to the IGN article that you linked, and IGN had an age gate on there. Now, if you don't know, an age gate is a prompt that comes up when you view something that might have an M rating in a game, like you have to be 18 years or older to view this content, right? And so typically it pops up, and yes is the first option and no is the second option. It's like that everywhere. Every bit of UX design has, and UI, UI design and UX, user experience has it that way. Yes, and then no. And they flipped it around, and I accidentally hit no because muscle memory, right? I'm just going over to saying, yes, I'm 18 or whatever. And then I'm locked out of viewing this content as a 35-year-old. I can't see it because, I tried refreshing the page. And of course, because cookies and whatnot, it's stuck there. So I literally had to leave them feedback, and I was like, do better. I understand when companies try and make people actually read something like the terms of service or something, but when you're forcibly switching things that are commonplace or something that has been established to get different results, the only reason you do that is to get different results. To have an A and B test, right? We tested it with this and we tested it with that. Like, I work in marketing. I know how it works. That's exactly what they're doing. And it pisses me off. Like,
you raise a really great point, Bruno. And you talk about the fine, right? Let's 520 million, record breaking, right? But first of all, you got to ask yourself, how much did Epic make from this change, right? Well, yeah, we'll get there.
Change, not even.
How much did they make because of this change or because of the changes they've done in this privacy case? Billions, right? Look at Epic alone. Epic's current market valuation is $32 billion. Last year, Fortnite alone made $5.8 billion. So if you just take Fortnite's revenue from last year, 2021, 520 million isn't even 10% of that revenue.
Nope, nothing.
Right. So
and that's
not only
just
in Fortnite's,
right?
Fortnite, right? So not only in Fortnite's realm, but in Epic's pocket, this is chump change. So we're talking about record fines in the gaming industry. Yet who's being fined is not going. This is nothing to them. They'll pay it and move forward, and maybe we'll see 100 V-Bucks in our account. Maybe we won't. Who knows? But in terms of the impact, like. It to us it feels significant. To Epic it feels like a slap on the wrist because economically this is 3% of their valuation of their company.
And you also have to realize, so this is Dexter says but I heard that everyone is getting refunds, right? Like that's like class action lawsuit for you 101, right? Like anytime you see one of those things that like have you or a loved one been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call the number on the screen and get representation now. That you, along with, a million other people, are going to split $1 million. Congratulations, you just got $1. Right? Like, not even that, because they probably took
it's not even going to be real money. It's going to be V-Bucks.
The other thing. Yeah, that's the
it's
other
not
thing.
Real money. You can't give your money back.
Exactly. So even refunding, they could refund you 3 times that, right? They could say, okay, we're going to give you
5,000
2,000. Or 5,000 V-Bucks. It means nothing to them. It's like a Stanley nickel or a Shroot buck. Right? Like it has no value whatsoever.
1,000 Shroot bucks, you get 5 minutes extra on your lunch break, Bruno. That's not worth something to you?
No, it's the same ratio as leprechauns to unicorns, Nick. It has no meaning to them whatsoever because they can hand out V-Bucks whenever they want. So
it's kind of a really good point.
Thing. Like
it's kind of this gray underbelly of digital game currency. When you get into these lawsuits where there is a fine and there is some type of, like you said, effort to refund or to reward people for your bad behavior, in-game currency is a great way to avoid actual financial penalties because you say, we rewarded 520 million of in-game currency. Okay, but you're already keeping that money in your pocket. That 520 million is just kind of funny money at that point. Yeah, okay, some people are going to get an extra skin or two out of that, but at that point, it doesn't matter. You've gotten the money anyway. You just now maybe lost 30% on the margin on those skins at the end of the day, but you still made 70% more than you had to begin with. And so this isn't really going to stop that behavior. This is just kind of like I said, it's kind of just we need to make a big deal and make news. The FTC needs to be able to make their paycheck, make their money, and show, hey, we're paying attention to what's going on. But there's no systemic way of stopping this. It's just
It's like the
you'll
cops
see this
at the
further
end
and
of the
further.
month, right? Trying to get the quota on tickets, like
Yep.
we just, and they
Few
say
more
there's
cars
no
out
quota.
there.
There's a quota. We know there's a quota. There has to be. There has
10
to
over.
be metrics in any business or any system. There's metrics, and you're not
What do you
pulling
think, Nick?
people
I mean,
over.
Are Bruno and I totally off base? Do you agree? What do you think?
It took me a little while to process this because when the news first broke, and I'm like, my hot take was like, wait, all they did was just switch the buttons. Like normally you have to like load V-Bucks on there, and like how would somebody get caught by that? But it does happen where parents will put things on there and will load V-Bucks. But what I also didn't think about is that a lot of transactions in Fortnite are monetary out of the gate. It's not a load up V-Bucks and then make a purchase. It's no, the thing that you're buying is like a $9.99 pack, right? They have the Fortnite, that monthly thing you can purchase in addition to the battle pass now that they have. So there are a lot of ways where you could get caught. And if it's as simple as a button press, that there was like a 1 year stretch where that's the way it was before they changed it back. It's saying here the FTC is claiming that Epic ignored more than 1 million user complaints and repeated employee concerns that huge numbers of users were being wrongfully charged. So, the numbers were there on the customer service side and people were just getting ignored. So like you said, Brad, there's still that travesty where the ultimate result of this for most of these affected users is just going to be in-game currency. We're talking about millions of users. That adds up, that made a $10, $20 purchase that maybe their parents couldn't afford, or whoever the user was that they didn't have in their checking account at the time. You just don't know a person's financial situation, especially in a free-to-play game where people are playing it because it is free to play.
Think about it alone. If
Mhm.
that was just the Fortnite crew for 1 million people, that's 15 million a month.
Yeah.
A month.
Mhm.
Right? And then if
Right.
that goes on for a year, I mean, you're talking alone 180 million approximately just in that gross mistake from those 1 million complaints.
Yeah.
If it's that $14.99 charge a month.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, that's incredible.
It's a big number. I think what's happening here is it's a rightful lawsuit. It's a rightful fine. I think the FTC is also kind of firing a warning shot off to the entire game industry because when you take a shot at Fortnite, the king of free to play games, and the creator of the original Battle Pass model that has been so widely adopted and is the gold standard for how a free to play game monetizes successfully and has a 7-8 year plus run. They are doing this because they want to make sure that all of these other free to play developers, you say, hey, look at what's happening here. Here is the line in the sand of what you can and can't do, and how you need to make sure you're protecting games that have a large user base, especially with minors in there. I really do like that rule that they're going to be more careful about making sure that certain communication settings are disabled. Because a lot of parents don't know that like when their kids log into these games like Roblox and Fortnite, that like the amount of access that everybody now has to your kid is shockingly more than you might think. So I think it is very smart to initially disable it, and then hopefully this helps educate parents and people see them think, oh my gosh, I didn't realize Fortnite that there's just so many people you can talk to and instantly party up with, and who knows where that can go. So. Very, very much a warranted lawsuit, and like I said, unprecedented. 2 separate, $250,000 lawsuits. That oh my gosh, it's just it's something crazy. Also, guys, breaking news: we just found out that Elon Musk has officially said he will step down as Twitter CEO. That just came through like 10 minutes ago.
Right now?
That is literally breaking news.
Wow.
Yeah, every now and then we're first to a story.
Wow.
We are literally first. You heard it here first. Where is the news thing that makes us
we
official?
We need a news break.
News officialness.
If there was ever a time.
So is Tom from MySpace getting the gig? Is he officially the heir apparent?
Tom from MySpace initially replied to it saying, well, if the right person was in charge, and if this is Tom from MySpace's redemption arc, I'm here for it 100%. Yeah. So to put that in context.
What a full circle moment. Wouldn't that be a full circle moment?
I didn't mean to take us off the rails there, but I scrolled down a little bit and it was like, oh, by the way, 5 minutes ago, Elon Musk has resigned.
So we can't just leave. We have to talk about that
Yeah.
for just a
Yeah.
second,
Just a
right?
sec.
Even
Mhm.
though that's not necessarily gaming news. I want to say that I think that part of what makes Twitter so special is the organic nature of the beast, right? And when you try and put when you try and tag or tame the beast in a certain way, it's not going to work. It's not going to
Right.
work. I don't think that you're going to get the intended use, and that's regardless of whoever stands up to become the next CEO of the platform. Rather, even if it's someone that everyone universally hates, and it doesn't matter, right? Like the I think that when I look at some of the most interesting things about Twitter, I think about the like grassroots things that became so big, like the shiz my dad says. I don't want to say the word, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That account right there was absolute gold, right? And then there was that whole Back to the Future movie thing where they tweeted the entire movie, like the entire Back to the Future
It's one
movie,
line at a time.
like one line at a time. And those types of things, I'm like, who's gonna pay Twitter Blue for that, right?
Yeah.
Like no one. And so I don't know. I think that this is how do you think he's feeling, Brad? How would you feel if you took the reins and then made all these changes and everyone was basically like, we want you out? Like,
Get out of here.
and
This had to be strategical. This could not have been a like floundering, I'm going to do this, and oh, I wasn't prepared for this reaction. The type of person Elon Musk is, this is no way surprising to him. This must have been part of his plan. Whatever that plan is, this is going the way he anticipates it going. I mean, he had to knew the backlash he was going to face after laying off that many employees and then putting a public vote out there to say, "Hey, should I resign?" I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure, or you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Something is
Mm.
going on here behind the scenes that we don't know, that him being the CEO of Twitter doesn't allow him to be successful. He obviously is doing this for a hidden agenda that we as common folk have no idea about. So I'll leave it there. Let the conspiracies run. But to me, to be someone who's championed SpaceX and Tesla and all these other successful companies, to literally pay that much money, 48 billion, and then just literally nosedive it in the ground doesn't make sense.
Weird. It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. It's weird. The only thing I could, and I initially said was, maybe he wants to create his own communication platform, and it's easier to do it with somebody that's already built something, right? Like,
right.
I mean, we can get off into what ifs. There's a lot of thoughts out there about it, whether it's nosediving it to support other social communication platforms that are recently created for other reasons, and so it's very much it's interesting. I mean, I feel like we would go to Twitter to find out what happens next, and now that's going away in some ways. So where do you go to find breaking news? So it's definitely kind of a play on itself in a way. It's like
apparently
the place you go to get news is well, there you go.
It's us.
Yes.
It's apparently us.
I don't know, Nick.
Wow.
Wrap it up for us. Put a bow on it. What do you think?
It's maybe I think it's a long-term play for Dogecoin. He's doing it for the Doge.
Crypto. Wow.
No, it couldn't be. No, he's just. Oh my God. The only business insight I'll give is I think he is intentionally playing the heel here, in that he wanted to step in, make all the cuts, fire all the people, and then when the new CEO that he intends to come in and step in and be the messiah for Twitter, he'll be the bad guy, right? He's taking all the heat, but he's going to have this new person come in that's going to do only good things, and that's going to be the play to put faith back in Twitter while still running it lean. As many people as have been laid off, will it work? I don't know. But man, look at that. Every now and then we something comes across. Our producer sends us something over, and we say, "Oh my gosh, that's news. That's news.
News.
Yeah,
Actual news.
That's actual news." So you're welcome.
We needed one of those like breaking news tickers, or like the.
We got the stinger from Bruno there.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Yeah.
Just
okay. We need a visual effect. You need the video stinger.
Gotcha. I got you.
Hold on.
There are a digital marketing group on that. Figure that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a second. That's sports.
That's right. Oh, well, thanks so much for joining us here on QTB. You've been fantastic. It's been fun. We're going to do it again next week.
Yes.
Every week after that until we die. So I hope you're ready to tune in to QTB. QTB.
Quit the Bill.